You are listening to the podcast To Be Single or Not to Be by Shanna Montana, a podcast where we talk about the single life, dating, and relationships so you can make a decision at the end of each episode and decide to be single or not to be. That is the final question.
So today's topic is, what does self-love really mean? Suffering is not a requirement for love. And I wanted to talk about this topic because the true definition of self-love and how you really have to tap into it is not talked about enough. On social media, I think present day is so trendy, quote unquote trendy, to boast about self-care, but self-love is an entirely different topic that I really think more women have to tap into in order to stop settling for less than what they deserve in a relationship and to know that they do not have to suffer to get the love that they truly desire. I think that what we allow ourselves to endure many times is so unnecessary. And I watch it so many times when y'all know my favorite show, Divorce Court, where I see women show up every single day and they clock in for these relationships where they have suffered anywhere from 1 year to 22 years and they still trying to figure it out. It's a lot of things you need to be trying to figure it out, but their relationship ain't one. So on that note, before we get started, I want to introduce three amazing guests who we've had on the show before, but it's been a while. So if you all would please tell the people who you are. And Brooke, I'm going to start with you.
Hey y'all, this Brooke Helen from the Windy City.
And ping ping. Up next, Erika, tell the people who you are.
Hey y'all, I'm Erica coming to you all from Austin, Texas. So glad to be here.
Texas. Meg, what's up? And Danielle, last but not least, tell the people who you are.
What's up, y'all? It's Danielle, bringing you greetings from Bossier City, Louisiana. Ba, 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 ba.
Absolutely not.
I love it. So before we get started and dive into the topic, I'm going to ask y'all a question. Don't everybody go at once. On a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the best it has ever been in your life, how is your love life? I said, don't everybody go at once. Brooke, you look like you want to answer.
Like a 4.98.
Okay.
Wow. Hey,
Corey.
Yeah.
You must know Corey gonna listen to this.
Huh?
I said you must know.
He in the background right now.
Look, huh? No, no, like I appreciate them. We'll get more into why later on, but I'm extremely happy where we are right now.
Awesome. Danielle, what about you?
Ooh, bitch, you have to call me next. Can we do it based on like where we think our part, like where I am versus like what I think my partner gives?
We do it however you want to do it.
Okay, I would say that I am at a 4.5, and it's just because it's a lot going on in life right now.
Mm-hmm.
I would say my husband is probably at a 5.0. He is an amazing husband. So I honestly have to date because shit comes up. No complaints.
I love it. One day at a time. One day at a time. And last but not least, E, what would you say?
Woo. I know you was gonna come out the gate with this one, Shayna. Things are fairly new. So we're kind of in our like honeymoon phase, I guess is what they call it. So I think things have been going extremely well, better than prior relationships. And so I think, I don't want to call it perfect, but so I'll say 4.8.
Good. I love to hear it. Everybody's doing so well.
What about yours, girl?
Back
at you.
But I guess love trying to throw that back to me, and I just be trying to move on. So I'm at a 5. We're good.
Amen.
Yeah, we're at a 5. What's the day? What's the date? What's the one day that's gonna come out? So
March 13th, baby.
So yeah, I'm at a 5. No complaints right now. You know, like you said, it ain't perfect, but yeah, if I had to rate it, 5 today, I can't promise you it's gonna be there tomorrow. So.
Okay.
All right, so getting right to it, ladies. I want to ask you all, starting out in a very simple space, beyond the hair done, nails done, everything done. You know, they say everything did. that falls under self-care, because I think social media, we talk about, getting a new wig, going to the spa, hanging out with your girls, brunching, that does fall under self-care. But we want to go a little bit deeper. And I want you all to talk more so, instead of self-care, we want to move over to what really is self-love, because we know it's more than surface level. So what is you all's definition of self-love present day?
I'll go. Spending time with yourself and actually enjoying that time.
Mm.
I think maybe it was like 2 weeks ago. I ran a bath, like, got my whole what you call it, the yoni stain blend. I put some of that in there, Epsom salt. Like, I was legit in the bathroom for like 2 hours. Like, I did a actual yoni stain. I wrote my intentions. I listened to some music. I was even texting Sam's.
While you was in the tub?
No.
From the bands.
Look, no, because remember you gave us the Black Girl affirmations.
Yes.
And I couldn't remember it, so I reached out to you to get it. So
okay.
Yeah.
Had to clear that up.
Yeah. And also I think a big part of self-love is not tolerating certain behaviors that you are worthy of or aren't worthy of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not tolerated. We're definitely going to put a pin in that one. Danielle and Erika, what does self-love look like for you right now?
Yeah, I think for me, it looks like courage and bravery these days. Like courage to say no. It's not really my forte. Not something that I'm like strong at, especially when it comes to those that I care about. So saying no, like giving myself permission to like leave it undone so I can take a nap. I think it looks like for me recently, advocating for myself. So like, saying yes to the things that are scary for me, you know what I mean? Like trying to take risks in business, taking risk in my profession, advocating for a higher salary because I feel like I deserve it. I think it's like self-care for me is like speaking up for myself differently and stronger than I have ever in the past. In addition to like the self-care, like the baths and the walks and the, being outdoors and the crystals. And I'm into all that shit too. But I think for me recently, it's self-love has come in the form of like saying yes and saying to the things that are scary and no to the things that don't serve me.
No to the things that don't serve me. Definitely in that one too. And Danielle, go ahead.
I would say setting my boundaries, but also holding myself accountable to honoring those boundaries. These last 2 years have been an exercise in saying no and not providing a reason, just that is no. The other thing, and I'm really not good at this, but I don't know where I read this at, but a quote that said like rest is revolutionary. And I don't rest very well. I'm on the go all the time and telling myself that I deserve rest, like I deserve to sit down and do nothing. Just like right now, I'm at a conference and I was not going to come because I was like, oh, I got so much other stuff to do, but telling myself I deserve to be away and to unplug a little bit and do something that adds to me as a professional, but also like just be by myself, which is something that I don't get to do for long spans of time, and try to be at a point. The thing that I'm into now is like having opportunities where people don't need me, if that makes sense. In every aspect of my life, like somebody needs me and they need access to me, and just being okay with not being accessible 24 hours, 7 days a week.
That's good.
Something that was a common ground, I think, with all of you all was like the thing about saying no, the courage to say no, advocating for yourself, knowing that it's okay to rest. All of these things that you guys mentioned, how did you get to that space present day? Because I know we haven't always sat in that seat all the time. And it may be new for us or it may be new for a listener, but what was your journey like for you to get to where you are right now?
Therapy, girl.
Okay.
If you do not have a therapist, get a therapist, do the research to find the right therapist for you. It has been transformative for me. I am the oldest sibling. I grew up in a single parent household, and I like very much was conditioned to be like the perfectionist and to be like to do the right thing always and to make my family proud. And so it is very hard even today to be like to feel like I'm disappointing people or letting people down. And I think like, girls, we're conditioned to, take care of others over ourselves. That's a whole nother situation. But I say that to say that like saying no came extremely hard for me. And so I got a therapist, and like we would do like scenarios and role plays together. Like I would tell him something going on at work, and like he would role play with me, like the perfect scenario and like the completely worst scenario, so that I would be prepared for whatever came up. And it was just trial and error. Like I tried it, I failed a few times, I tried it some more, got a little bit better, more comfortable with it. It's still something that doesn't come like as natural to me, but it's getting easier. But I think it came with like therapy and like doing role plays around like real life scenarios that you may struggle to say no to, so that you get the practice and the experience, so that when the time comes for you to do it, you feel more prepared. And then just like trying it, you'll fumble through it a few times, but it gets easier.
Yeah. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, definitely want to agree on the therapy. But I think the shift came for me when I found out that I was going to be a mama.
Okay.
And knowing the way in which I desired to parent, that there was going to be a shift in priorities and preparing people in my life for that shift. And working through with my therapist, like how, like, very similar to Erika, like I'm the oldest single parent home, raised by my mom and my great grandmother. And I'm the person that always does when something goes wrong. I'm the first call. I'm everybody's emergency contact, all that, right? And so in preparing for Dylan to arrive, it was really important to me that I wanted her to see me as an emotionally available parent. And because I also have a job that requires me to be emotionally available to other people and other people's kids, I didn't want to be the type of parent that like when you get home, that you don't have anything left for the child that God has blessed you with, because you've been pouring into other people all day or other family members all day, right? And so that shift in priorities definitely helped bring me along, because it was like, damn, like I'm gonna have somebody who's waiting on me to be present, and they're not going to be able to understand, oh well, mommy's been counseling people all day and leading people all day, and she didn't ask to be born into a family like that, and just preparing to be present and available for her in a way that didn't deplete me. And so I had to learn how to be very selfish, which is very hard because, like Erika said, I'm the person that everybody calls when shit goes bad. And I had to shift it and go, call me last, like call me after y'all got the bond money, call me if y'all want somebody, like, but don't make me your first call, because I have to be available to my child. So
Yeah, I agree with all of that, but mine was more so because I've always been like a giver. Like, that's my love language, but at the same time it started to become a curse because like literally like there was nobody else to depend on. So you look at it, or I started looking at it like, yo, I'm tired. Like, and when you get to that point, you don't want to be there, because when you really need to show up for somebody, you want to be able to distinguish like, okay, this person really needs me versus, well, I know you're going to be there, so I'm going to, come to you anyway. So once I start looking for reciprocity in relationships, that kind of changed my path.
Yeah. And so why did that change your path? Was it not were you not getting that reciprocity?
Oh, absolutely. But that's the thing. I wasn't expecting it, because I was always taught like, don't give and expect.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, here I am giving, and ain't nobody giving shit back. Like, you can't pour from an empty cup. So it's like, yo, I need somebody to replenish this shit. So
Listen,
once I start requiring that from my friendships, then, or all relationships, not even just friendships, all relationships, ones at work, just like, between Corey and I, like that was a game changer for me.
A game changer. And Erica said something earlier about how we are taught from like childhood or whatever to, put everybody first, to nurture every situation. Why do we struggle? Put everybody first except for us. So why do we struggle with the idea of putting ourselves first above
Because
anybody?
we stupid. No,
The
I think it's because we've seen it. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as our parents, I know specifically for all of our mothers, or the women that raised us, we saw it firsthand. Like, they figured the shit out, so we got to figure this shit out. So, unfortunately, within the past few years, we know that we don't have to assume that role of superwoman. We're getting therapy. We're not, making it work. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're tapping into those resources to become a complete person instead of, trying to pull from every direction when it's not even there in the first place.
And would you all say that, I'm going to ask this in a way, because I think it's connected to what we're talking about. Many times, you guys know, and we've suffered through it ourselves sometimes, early stages of a relationship, you see women suffering. And it's like it's less than 6 months in, and they already going through bullshit. Whether that be cheating, disrespect, not showing up. And we have already, in some sense, like normalized, like, I don't want to lose this man. I don't want to say anything. So I don't want to shake the table. So I'm not going to say anything. I'm afraid he's going to leave. The fear of even communicating that it's going to cause you to lose a relationship that should probably be lost anyway. So do you all feel we've gotten to this place where we do think that, suffering is just a requirement or a part of love? Like, you have to go through it. Tell me
For
more.
sure.
I absolutely think that, but especially for Black women, because look at all the messages that we get from like our upbringing and the media. Like, it implies that you're gonna have to go through something terrible in order to get to that get that prize, which ultimately for most women is like a ring and being chosen and being married, and you have to endure all of the hold it down. You got to be ride or die and all this kind of stuff. Like, and then after you prove yourself, maybe he'll choose you, kind of thing. But that's what fairy tales are about. That's like when you think about like all the messages we get from little girls into our adulthood, it's all around like something terrible will happen and then it'll be okay. And this is how it's supposed to be. We don't see Black love celebrated in a way that does not imply suffering and does not, like, those stories don't get the shine that they deserve. It's the, he cheated, I stayed down, or he had an outside baby, and we can't, like, it's all these terrible, awful stories. And then it's like, but I held it down, I believed in him, he didn't want to work, but I held him down. And
hell no.
Like all of these horrible ass stories, and then I got a ring. And it's like, bitch, to say what? Like,
you got a ring.
Yeah, you're married to an emotional vampire. You're married to a terrorist.
An emotional terrorist. Yeah.
So it's just like, for what? Like, you could have accomplished and went through all of this by your damn self, and it probably would have ended up in a better position, right? But we don't see messages or stories that celebrate like us being treated right. It's from the gate. Like, it's like, oh, I had to learn that I want to ain't shit ass person to then kick into overdrive and be like, let me be the man that I'm supposed to be. No, like, you need to come ready, just like they expect us to come ready. You need to come with that mindset, but we don't get that. We don't get that, especially Black women. I don't know what white women get, but especially Black.
If you cannot come ready, then you don't need to come at all. Don't come as you are. Don't come at all. Don't pass go. Don't collect $200. Straight to jail.
Do not come as you are.
What would you say? You feel the same way as what Danielle was saying, that this is
I think it's all in the conditioning, right? Like Danielle mentioned the fairy tales and like the way that, like, we grew up watching toxic ass shit like The Little Mermaid. That girl had to give up her voice for a minute. Like, your whole ass voice.
I can't talk.
Like, I gotta give all that up, my whole voice. I think about like the church too. A lot of us grew up, under like really misogynistic religious practices that do not teach us how to love ourselves. You know, I think about my marriage counseling, right? It was like, you need to be long suffering. Like, do I?
No.
I don't know about that. You know, I wouldn't want that for my child to just suffer for a long time for the sake of being with somebody. But like even messages in like pop culture, like the ride or die chick, right? Like we romanticize stuff like that. I think when I think like the way that we're conditioned, even from like little girls, right? Like we boys get to build stuff and to like play with GI Joes. We're taught to like play with the dolls and take care of babies. So we're conditioned from birth through the way that we play, what we watch, what we hear at church, what we hear from our families, to be like caregivers and to ride or die and to like turn the other cheek and to expect long suffering. And so I think we get into these relationships, you know, just assuming and expecting that we're gonna have to deal with some bullshit before they like grow up and treat us the way that we deserve. I also feel like we don't grow up hearing messages or like anyone ever talking to us about like what does the ideal mate for you look like? You know, like more than just a provider, what he looks like physically or what she looks like physically, but like what are the emotional like expectations you have of a partner, so that when they do come across your path, like do you recognize them? And when those that don't meet that standard come across your path, you're like, this is not what I've been taught to desire, and so you got to go. We just all types of really toxic and unhealthy conditioning growing up, I feel like leads to us, you know, accepting suffering before we get to, if we ever get to the glory.
If we ever get to the glory. And I think you said something that really stood out about being able to identify like emotionally and mentally what it is that we want in a partner to sustain the relationship. And a lot of people don't think about that. It's very surface level. It's very, you know, what does this look like for the gram? Aesthetically, do we look good together? What would our kids look like? And no one is really thinking about, you know, beyond the physical until it's too late, like when you're in the thick of it. I think sometimes people get into the thick of it and they still are not, they are in a relationship and still are not deeply paying attention to those things when they need to. So I want to lean to you, Brooke, and ask you a little bit about things that, since we are talking about what this journey looks like, we are going to talk about what it looks like for people to be reconditioned and not continue to think in this way. But I wanted to come to you first, Brooke, to tell us a little bit about your journey of relationships, you know, kind of like what you've been through to kind of lead you to the promised land you're at now.
Of course, I'd be delighted. Um, I was always like the type of person who found myself in situationships, right? Like, oh, you know, I'm not ready, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, like for whatever reason, I accepted it. So when I met Corey, I actually met him through a friend, and it wasn't like a hookup thing. As a matter of fact, when I met him, I was with somebody, but he was doing this project, and I'm like, damn, he thick as hell. But I was like, I gotta chill out, you know, because I got a boyfriend. So I ended up, you know what I'm saying? Like that's one of the things I pride myself on. I'm like the masterful DM slider. So, you know, I slid in his DMs like, yo, like, we planning this project and so and so and so. And I know last minute we reached out to you, but you know, I want to make sure we do it in enough time this time. And he was like, oh yeah, you know, when I was with y'all, I really enjoyed y'all synergy, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, got your ass. So then, you know, we talking and we ended up, no, so after that, he was like, yo, like you cool, can we be friends in real life? And I'm like, yeah, so of course, you know, the friendship started, and then of course the bullshit came.
Mm.
So, and I mean that in the nicest way possible, I guess. He was just like, yo, like I got a lot of shit going on. I'm gonna be completely transparent with you. Um, if you down to ride, like I'll promise you, like it'll get greater later. So usually, you know, your antennas go up and you be like, nah, I ain't for this one. Like, nah, that's all right. But one thing I can honestly say about this our interaction was one, he stayed true to what he actually said. Like, you know, it did get greater later, but on top of that, he was one of the first people who actions exceeded their words, right?
Mm.
So, you know how dudes be like, oh, we not boyfriend and girlfriend, but um you can come over and, you know, Netflix and chill. Like we was going on dates, like he was actually courting me, like preparing me for a relationship. So I'm like, I'm sitting up here scratching my head. I'm like,
Oh, pause. When did you get rid of the boyfriend? Did you have a boyfriend while this was going on?
oh yeah. Of course, I wasn't sliding in his DMs and I had a boyfriend. I ain't, you know, I'm reckless, but I ain't that reckless.
Allegedly. Carry on.
Yeah, okay. But anyway, we ended up like doing the whole like dating thing for a year before, you know, we got serious, and it had just got to a point where um I'm not going to say he wasn't the only person that I was dating, but you know, I had some other encounters with other people, and I was like, yo, like I'm just be honest with you, you either got to shit or you got to get off the pot. And he was like, all right, let's do this. So, you know, fortunately, it'll be 5 years in November. And besides the, you know, the typical man stuff, and I don't even want to sound like a woman basher, but y'all know what stuff like that is. Um, like things are great. Like I I didn't suffer through it, but it definitely took longer than it should have.
Why do you say it took longer than it should have?
Cause who want to date somebody for a year before, you know, you call them your significant other? Like who does that?
Why were you so patient to wait that long?
One, because we both had a lot going on. So, and I always think about you when in situations like that, because you always talk about the representative.
Hmm.
So I was trying to see if that was gonna wear off, honestly.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm like, okay, because things were going so well, and I'm like, yo, if this dude end up like turning on me, like I can
Kill him.
walk away, that too,
Yeah.
but I can walk away and you know it won't be no love lost because at the end of the day, we were just talking.
And really, even though I said that long, a year in context, when you think about all the things that we have going on a regular basis, a year will go by a lot faster than you think when you
Yep,
are busy with work, with school, with family
yep.
activities, because a month will fly by. So, in many times, and I preach this a lot on my Instagram, we do need to spend more time. Of course, everybody's timeline is different, but I think it's beneficial and will help with this suffering piece that we're talking about if people do spend more time getting to know somebody and they let that, if it is a representative, they let it wear off so they can really like see like this is who this person really is. So even though I'm sure I'm sure you had your moments where it probably was tougher than other times where you like,
Oh, for sure.
yeah, like I'm out of here. I'm about to scat. I can't take this no more. But I see, the promised land that he really showed up. And I'm sure it helped that his words matched his actions in regards to courting you, going on dates. He wasn't like Netflix and chilling you to death. And like that's all
Hmm.
y'all doing. If that's what somebody doing for a year, you ain't the only bitch they doing it with no way. So
Right. But and one thing like I can honestly say what like kind of sold me on him was no guy that I had ever met had met my parents, right? I mean that I had ever dealt with. Maybe one, and that was on accident. Um, so I told he was like, "Yo, I want to meet your parents," and I'm like, "Nigga, for what?" Like, you know what I'm saying? And he like, I mean, why not? I said, "Look, I only, you know, introduce people to my parents who are gonna be around for a while." He was like, "Okay, I want to meet your parents." I'm like, "Say word." So you know what I'm saying? The fact that he was adamant about, you know, and I'm sure he wanted to see that I wasn't completely crazy and, you know, wanted to see my upbringing or, you know, references from my upbringing. But for him to reassure me that me introducing him to my family would only aid in making our relationship stronger, I was like, okay. So,
that was definitely a good sign. So I'll
yeah.
say, E or Danielle, do y'all think it's a good idea? Do you all think that will help with this long path of suffering that women go through, taking more time to sit in that seat of dating versus jumping into a relationship within 3 months.
I think it comes with, I think the big thing to do is like to do some self-work. Because I think that like you can sit in a relationship for a whole year and ignore red flags if you haven't done the healing that you need in order to be able to identify those and walk away from them without the fear of like being alone. So I think, yes, to answer your question, I think, yes, it's probably better to, spend a longer amount of time dating so that you can ensure that all of the things that are important to you are being done consistently, to give space and time for the representative to wear off and for the real person to show up. But I think there's potential even there for like that time to lapse and us to ignore potential red flags that result in us, suffering like long-term in relationships. So I think, yeah, wait, but make sure that like in that process, you are clear about what your expectations are so that you know if they're being met, and to know what your like red flags are so that if they begin to pop up and appear, you are ready to get your shit and run.
Run. What would you say, Sims? Do you think the same?
I think that women, we aren't honest with ourselves often. And we can rationalize 5 ways past Sunday why we should stay and ignore every reason as to why we should get the hell out somewhere. And just being honest and unapologetic about what you want. I think that when I think about the reasons that I have stayed, definitely was giving pick me vibes. Like, and I have, it's been this, I dated you this long, and I got this amount of time in, and we're just not honest about the things that are important to us and what we really want. And so I just think that when the red flags are there, you gotta, or not even red flags, like shit that just don't vibe with what you want. Like, just be real and just don't be afraid to walk away and just be like, it's not working for me. And I think, especially when you get to a certain age, just kind of be like, ooh, I don't know. Pickets are slim. Let me just thug it out. But just get the fuck on.
We have to stop.
Because men do it to us. They'll leave us.
Okay.
No,
Quickly.
I don't like how you put your makeup on today. It's over.
Get the hell on these days.
Yeah, they do. And to be married to a bitch 3 months later.
3 weeks.
Listen.
Want to. I think I agree with everything you guys said, but I think it's a lot of the not nurturing the bullshit, not nurturing things that we don't like. Like, I don't vibe with, it's not my energy. You don't have to have a whole lot of reasons why you don't want to stay if you don't want to stay. Yep. And then the other side of it is, if you don't have to continue to give people chances when the disrespect or the abuse, not saying just physical, but other things are there. We have this notion that you got to give people 50, 60 chances. You know, you can leave the first time that somebody does something you don't like, and you don't need their permission. Like, you don't need consent to leave a situation, and you can dip. So I think more women have to tap into that. But I think a huge part of it is a lot of women feel like they are men's emotional rehabilitation centers.
Ooh,
that's where the game really has to change, because until we're able to know that the only emotions, especially initially when you first meet somebody, the only emotions you're really responsible for in the beginning are yours. As you get to know one another and care for one another, you do have to care about their emotions and how they show up in spaces. But that eventually comes eventually. But when you start out, you cannot emotional rehabilitate a man, especially a man that really doesn't want to be in a relationship, but is pretending like he wants to be in one. So what do you all think we have to do? Like, if we had to say, like, right now, a message to give a woman to let her know, like, you do not have to suffer through this bullshit. It's not a prerequisite for love. The love you want is really out there. But no, let me pull it back. Do you all, before I ask that question, do you all think that the love women truly desire is available for them out there in this, in the universe? Do you think it's really out there? Or do you feel like some motherfuckers meant to be single forever?
No,
Hoes don't need to be in relationships.
No, I think no, because you think about like the behavior that some people exhibit. Like there's legit people who are willing to do that. Now I follow up with or send y'all the stuff that I seen later. But it's legit this woman. She was married to this guy for like 15, 16 years. And then all of a sudden she decided she wanted two husbands, right?
Mm.
Well, two men, because the other one is her boyfriend. And I legit think that the boyfriend and the husband sleeping together. Like, and I'll send y'all the pictures and y'all can make that decision yourself. But like legit, when they say it's somebody out there for everybody, and then you think about the women who have been in and although all of this stuff is, is relative about the amount of healthiness that's involved, but it's women who, been in 15, 20-year relationships with unavailable men. So,
Yeah.
It's somebody for everybody.
Danielle, looking at your face.
Some people get exactly what they deserve. Let me say that.
Yeah.
And I think that when you become who you need to be, that's when you will attract the love that you deserve. That's what I think. I think that sometimes people want things that they're not deserving of and or ready for, just to be quite honest. And I think that it's easier to place expectations on a partner or somebody else, or say, I want this, I want that, than it is to say, but what in the hell do I need to do to be prepared to receive that? Or if and when I'm blessed with that, how do I plan on maintaining it? And so we spend a lot of time like making our list of like, these are the attributes I want my partner to have, but you don't hear stories about like, but this is the list that I made, saying these are the things that I need to do to be prepared to deserve that.
Yeah.
There's somebody out there for everybody, to Brooke's point, yes. However, you may get exactly what you deserve, if that makes sense. Like if you ain't doing the self-work, you may link up with a man that, he ain't doing his work either. Y'all deserve each other. Y'all gonna be miserable together, kind of thing. So I think that energy attracts energy. And when you have a made up mind and you are resolved and like, this is what I want, this is what I deserve, then you will attract that. And I think when you want some bullshit, you will attract some bullshit.
This is true. E, would you agree?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's all in the self-work. And I think that women, when we really do the self-work and like dig deep and like deep dive into like who we are and what's important to us and what we like, what we don't like, I don't know. I feel like some of us might realize like we don't even really want the traditional like thing that we've been taught to want, and taught to expect. Like, actually, I kind of like being on my own, and maybe I like fraternize with him or her whenever I feel like it. I don't want nobody living in my house and like married in the traditional sense. Yeah. So I really feel like, yeah, there's someone out there for everyone. I think it requires the self-work and the courage to like know like what that is and what that means for you. And I don't think that it always looks like what it has traditionally or what we have been expected to like want as women. And so like my like push would be not to do the work to like try to find somebody, but just do the work to just bring yourself back to yourself, to like love yourself, and the right partner and what you need to do to like align yourself with the right partner, if it is even a right partner, will happen. But I think it comes after first discovering yourself and like what you really want and desire.
Absolutely. And on that note, we'll be right back with the Living Single segment.
This now brings us to the Living Single segment of the podcast. It's simply a segment where we want to send you good vibes, good energy, and give good advice on any questions that you may have about being single, dating, or relationships. Remember, nothing is off limits. So, welcome to the Living Single segment of the show, and let's get into it.
All right, so now this brings us to the Living Single segment of the show. You guys know if you want us to answer your question, just send it in on the website, www.shannamontana.com, or you can message us on Instagram. So, ladies, gonna read the letter that came in from a listener who wrote in to the show on the website. So she stated, I am obsessed with the idea of getting a high value six-figure man. I am 26 years old, no children, very attractive, and I work an entry-level position in corporate America. However, I know I am destined for greater and I want a man to be the one to take me there. I don't want to have to work forever because I prefer to be taken care of. Am I wrong to feel this way or should I keep going after what I want?
Let me go first. No, I'm just playing. Because I know that Sims and
You better say,
Sims and
And get my Kevin Samuels on.
right, our outlooks completely are opposite. But I think shit, if sis could find a suck ass nigga to take care of her, like more power to her. But I also feel like there are gonna be things that she may not be ready for that are gonna come with it. You know, when a man completely funds your lifestyle and takes care of you, like you gon' I don't know any, and I know, you know, quite a few men. I don't know many men who wants to be in that position, you know, to completely take care of somebody and not be able to tell them what to do.
yeah,
So if she find them, she, you know, let me know what that unicorn is, because I got a couple of single friends, but like I don't let me, I'll rephrase that. It's possible, but a lot will come with it.
Sims, Kevin Sims.
Okay.
AKA Kevin Samuels.
Kevin Samuels Jr. Okay. So my question to her would be, what would a high value man want with you? And a high value man is not interested in your money because they got their own money. So she's talking about I'm a corporate nigga, men that got money don't give a damn about that because they got their own money. And a high value man wants a woman that's fit, feminine, and friendly. So if she wants to be a stay-at-home mom, be taken care of, that's fine. But are you also ready for the, what's the word? Are you ready for what comes with that? So that means that you don't control the finances. Or maybe you do. Maybe he puts you in charge of the money. I don't know. No kid. Okay, she said she's 26.
No,
She's not in the danger zone, so she can have children. I don't know. Because my question to her would be like, what would you be bringing? And do you know what a high value man wants? And high value, by Kevin Samuels' definition, is a man that makes a certain amount of money. So are you equipped to be a wife to a man that has that type of lifestyle? Like, is he gonna be embarrassed to take you to the corporate dinner? Do you know how to conduct yourself in a crowd of professionals? I think women say that, but then to like see that like play out looks very different. I know that would not work for me. But I think people say that, and then when you get down to like, well, this is what it's gonna look like, sis might be like, nah. You know, that's a lot of control. To me, that's a lot of control.
I think 26, she's very young. You know, I think very green. You know,
Yeah, that's a lot of control. That's
take care
like,
of
you don't want to work.
Yeah.
Like, and the men that I know, the single men that I know, even my husband, I would dare to say, yeah. Like, I think number one in this, like, have that, yeah, it takes two incomes to make this thing work. That's just me. The other thing, in this economy, any goddamn thing can happen. So I think that my husband appreciates knowing that, like, I can hold it down, and I appreciate knowing that he can hold it down financially. So if one of us God forbid loses a job, like we're not gonna be like all is lost, abort mission. Like it might be tight, but we're gonna be all right. Yeah. So I just think that women say that, but they don't have no idea like what that means to actually like when it plays out. And I just know that it would not work for me. So my question to her would be, number one, do you know what that would look like? And I guess it would be dependent upon the high value man or the partner. And then number two, do you have the skill set that would be necessary to attract and keep a high value man?
Do you have the set of skills? Erika, what would you tell this young lady?
Yeah. I don't want to tell her to like give up on her dream. Like I get, you wanting to be in a relationship where the bag is secured and where you can like sit pretty, and I get that. I think y'all remind me to tell y'all a story about the Republican when we get some time alone. But I think that along the lines of what Danielle said, a lot comes with like that shit, like there's a lot of control and a lot of expectation. And I think that, you have to be considerate of like what you're willing to sacrifice, what you're willing to give of yourself in order to like maintain that relationship. And if what it costs is not too much to your like psychological safety and your emotional safety and who you are as a person, go for it, sis. I attempted to date a high value guy. And he was a really nice guy, but I mean, there were all like, you always had to be on, right? Like I had to think about my nail color and the way I dressed and the way I spoke. And like, what's important to me is like joy, peace, and freedom. Like, and so I felt like I was compromising too much of my freedom, which was too costly for me. And so it wasn't going to work out. But like, I think if you know who you are and know the things that are important to you, and if you're able to like maintain that alongside this high value gentleman, go for it, sis. But I think when you think about it and when you get in it, you'll realize that what it costs to maintain these relationships may come too costly, and it may like cost you yourself. And I think that's way too high of a price to pay. But secure the bag, sis.
If you can. And if you find that man, please let us know where you found him so we can let everybody else know. So on that note, we'll be right back with the resolution. All right, so now this brings us to the resolution segment of the show. And you ladies know this is a quick round table where you all give your final thoughts on the question that I am about to ask. So what would you say the resolution is to understanding that suffering does not have to be a part of your love story and that you should love yourself the most? Brooke, you go first.
Thank you. I guess since I was the one who, I'm not gonna say I suffered because that's not fair. But it took me longer, or it took us longer to decide if that's what we really wanted. So the advice I would give to someone in a similar situation is make sure this is what you want. In addition to that, don't sacrifice your well-being for someone else's comfort. There are a lot of things, of course, not with this recent relationship, but in the past that, I just went along to get along. So definitely do not do that. And another thing that I thought of once I got older, like, would you be okay with the behavior that you accepted? Would you be okay if your child or your sister or your mother was going through that same thing? So that's kind of what I use to gauge Corey and I's relationship. Like, okay, like he took me through A, B, and C. Like, would your mother, like, or even if your mother knew about it, like, would you be ashamed to tell your story? So Just just basically, like keep looking out for self and don't compromise your like long-term happiness for short-term happiness.
I love it. E, what would you say?
Yeah, I don't feel like we hear enough how worthy we are, how we are enough just because, right? If our nails are not painted, if we don't make six figures, if we don't have the perfect body, we are still enough and we are worthy of love that is gentle, that is sweet, that is patient. And I would want every person under the sound of my voice just to get to a place where they know without a shadow of a doubt that they are worthy before being partnered. And I think once you really tap into how worthy, how important you are unlikely or less likely to settle for anything less than what you believe about yourself. And so if you truly feel important, feel worthy, you're not going to accept the jobs that are not aligned to what you feel like you are. You're not going to accept the friendships. You're not going to accept the partnerships that don't match what you believe about yourself. And so I think what I would love to leave with everybody is just to do the work to truly get to a place where you believe that you are worthy of opulence and greatness, and make everything that surrounds you like meet you at that vibration. And I think that what I'm learning is like once I elevate myself and once I like fixed and started working on myself, like the people that were attracted to me that I was attracting were like aligned to that. So much love and high hopes and great wishes for all those that are listening. I hope that y'all find the love and the partnership that you absolutely deserve.
Love that. The vibration. And last but not least, Danielle, what would you say?
I want to add to what E said and add the caveat of you are worthy of everything that you prepare for. So as you are making a list of things that he or she needs to be, also be making that list and doing the inner work about who you want to be. And make sure you sweep around your own front door before you expect somebody to come to the door with all of these things. And like, what are you bringing, right? And so I just think that we spend a lot of time fantasizing about who he or she will be, but we don't spend enough time fantasizing about who we want to be and holding ourselves accountable to like holding ourselves accountable to like, if you want this, then this is what it's going to take to have that. And so I got some traumas that I need to clean up. I need to be in therapy. I need to be doing all the things that are going to make me a better woman, a better partner to somebody, right? So then when he or she comes, I'm prepared. Like, I'm not like, oh shit, Lord, I wasn't expecting it. Like, you were prepared and you're ready, and you're already working. I think that we have this idea of like, at the moment that you say I do, that's the moment that you become a wife. But I think that women should be wives in waiting. I think that you should be preparing for that moment before the I do's and before the proposal. Because let me tell you, it ain't no light switch that you flick and then, oh, I'm a wife. Like that. It is constant work, constant self-reflection. And so I just think that as much time and energy we put into like envisioning this person and all that he or she would be, we should spend just as much time, if not more, in investing in ourselves in that same way.
And on that note, give yourselves a round of applause, ladies. Ooh. The gems have been dropped. The lessons have been given. So now tell the people where they can find you if they want to.
Nowhere.
Look for me. No, just call me Almond. I'm on IG. That's it. Not on Facebook, on Twitter, none of that. Well, I'm not on Facebook. No, I'm on Twitter, but I don't tweet. So
Call me Almond. Find her on Instagram.
Or
Or not. Can the people find you anywhere?
Yeah, I am Pearl Kocious 08 on Instagram, Erika Hunt DeWalt on Facebook.
All right.
Erika with the K.
You said they can find you nowhere.
Yeah, don't look for me. I'm good. I'm not taking any more social media. No, you can find me on IG. I may or may not accept you. Chloe Fresh on Instagram. That's about it. This is about as deep as I go.
As you need to go. So again, ladies, your opinions are always valued and appreciated. I really enjoyed this conversation. I know the listeners are going to get a lot from it. And my hope is that people just stop suffering in love. And I think this is one tool that will aid them in that journey. So on that note, you guys know I'll be right back with the Montana Minute. And now this brings us to the Montana Minute. The first thing, suffering is not a requirement to have the love that you desire. That is old and outdated information, so stop believing it. The next thing, it will take time and patience to find the love that is truly meant for you, but you have to hold yourself accountable to get it done, no matter how long it may take. And the last thing, if you are consistently in the struggle in your relationship, it's time for you to strongly evaluate why and then move accordingly, because moving accordingly may mean moving on. So be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. And I now leave you to decide to be single or not to be. That is the final question. Signing off, yours truly, Shanna Montana.